If you own the Insta360 Ace Pro, these are the 7 accessories that I recommend as must-haves. The first accessory is known as the Insta360 Ace Pro mic adapter. Yes, it is called a mic adapter, and it will allow you to connect a microphone via the 3.5mm port. But it's much more than just a mic adapter, and I actually use it for a different use case most of the time. So first of all, in order to attach the mic adapter, what you need to do is you need to pull off this little door right here that covers the USB-C port. So you open it up and you just lift up slightly and pull out, and it's going to pop off. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to plug the USB-C connector here into the USB-C port right here on your Ace Pro. Once you click that into place, it's going to stay connected right here on your camera. And what this does is this provides USB-C pass-through charging. So instead of having your Ace Pro sitting there with the door open, exposing the USB-C port and your micro SD card, you can have the mic adapter on, and you can have your camera plugged in via a USB-C power bank. So your camera can be getting power, and you don't have to have your door wide open exposing your micro SD card. In addition, if you do want to use an external mic with this, you can have it connected via the 3.5mm port, and you can also be providing power to your camera at the same time. So this is a really useful adapter. I keep this mic adapter on my Insta360 Ace Pro all the time. In fact, I haven't used this door since I first bought this. I've just kept this permanently installed on my camera. And I find myself using the Ace Pro often for time lapses or night lapses. It does a phenomenal job with both of those. And of course, when I'm filming those, I'm going to be filming those time lapses for several hours, especially the night lapses. So this brings me to accessory number 2. And that accessory is this power bank right here from Anker. This power bank holds 20,000 milliamp hours of charge, which is more than enough to power your Ace Pro through many time lapses and a couple night lapses before it runs out of power. All you have to do is just plug it in right here, and the Anker power bank will automatically turn on. It'll show the lights there, and it'll start powering your camera. Whenever I leave home with the Ace Pro, I always make sure to have the Anker power bank along, because even if I'm not doing a time lapse or a night lapse, I can do quick charges of this camera in between filming. And there are several situations where I can have this plugged in while filming, especially if this camera is going to be stationary. This is perfect for that. And also, if you have a use case where you want to have the battery out of your Ace Pro and you want to power it without the battery, this power bank will also do that. So the battery's removed, and as you can see right here on the back, shows no battery in there, and I've got it plugged in, powering it. And just want to show you, it'll also record with no battery in there and just the power from this. So if you have a situation where you want to keep it powered continuously and you don't want the battery in there, this is perfect for that solution as well. Speaking of batteries, accessory number 3 is an extra battery for your Ace Pro. The power banks are great and they're useful in a lot of situations, but there will be filming situations where it's not practical to have one of these attached to the camera. That's going to basically be any situation where you're doing some intense action sport, like downhill skiing, mountain biking, anything like that. It's good to have at least one of these extra batteries along with you, so that when the charge runs out on the one in the camera, you can easily pop in an extra and get back to your adventure. So I definitely recommend having at least one extra battery for your Ace Pro. Accessory number 4 is this Ulanzi 57-inch selfie stick and tripod. I absolutely love this. It's very versatile. I can do a lot with it. One of the big use cases I have for this is using it as a tripod when filming time lapses or night lapses. And the reason I love this one in particular is you can have it sit low to the ground and the legs open really wide on here. And that wide spread means that even on a windy day, this is really stable and it's not likely to tip over on me during a time lapse or a night lapse. I've had plenty of tripods with other cameras that have tipped over on me, and I come out to them in the morning and I find that half of my night lapse was filmed with the camera laying on the ground, and sometimes the camera face down on the ground, which doesn't capture many stars that way. This one I've had outside in 30, 40 mile per hour wind gust, and it has yet to be knocked over. So I really like it for that. And the other big use case I have for this is using it as a selfie stick. So it does extend really far out. If you're going to be doing any type of vlogging with the Ace Pro, this is great. It's also great if you need a little bit further reach when you're filming in a particular situation. But one of the big reasons I like the reach of this is because the minimum focus distance on the Ace Pro is about 16 inches, but I like to personally have it back at least 24 inches from a subject or a human that I'm filming. Like if I'm talking to the camera, I don't just want to be holding it here. I like to have it back a couple feet. And if you're trying to film like this with your arm fully extended, A, it's going to start to hurt your arm after a while, and B, it's not practical to do that, and it's a little bit awkward. You're more likely to accidentally film your hand in here if you do it that way. So that's where this comes in. You can easily mount it on here, and then you can extend it a couple feet, and you can be holding it out here to film yourself. And you also can adjust the angle here, which is great. If you loosen this, you can adjust the angle. So then you can have your camera like this, and it's really good for filming. This accessory is probably one of the best values of the 7 I'm discussing today. You can typically get this for less than $30, and I've used this with a bunch of cameras. I've had it quite a while now, and it looks just like new. It's held up really well. Now, speaking of focus distance and getting great footage, accessory number 5 is this ND filter set right here for the Ace Pro. Now, this ND filter set comes with 4 filters. It has an ND8, an ND16, and an ND32. There's also the polarizer filter right here. So those ND filters are great if you're outside filming on a sunny day. And what these ND filters allow you to do is they allow you to capture footage with a slower shutter speed. If you're outside filming on a bright sunny day and you just have everything set to auto on here, the shutter speed is probably going to be like 1/1000 or maybe a little bit higher. That gives every frame in your footage a really sharp look, and the frames don't always flow smoothly. There can be a lot of jaggedness there, but when you put one of these on, you can get a slower shutter speed on a sunny day, and you can also use the 180-degree shutter angle if you want to, and that can give you that real cinematic look. And when you film your footage with that slower shutter speed, it looks a lot better to the human eye. It feels a lot more natural, and that motion blur in the footage just looks a lot better, and it feels a lot more natural. So I love having this set. And one of the things that surprised me about these is these filters are made of metal. I expected something kind of plastic, rubbery feeling. These are legit made of some solid materials, and they're really easy to put on. You just pop it right over the lens here, and you're good to go. And these do not come off easily, so I don't feel like this is going to rattle off on me. Anytime I've been using it, even with fast action, this has stayed on really well. You do have to give it quite a tug to get it off. Accessory number 6 is this GPS preview remote. Now, this accessory, I was pretty excited about this one, and it hasn't disappointed. So what we have here is powered on, and this actually has a touchscreen. And what you can do is you can sync this with your camera via Bluetooth. This remote allows you to collect data such as speed, route, and location. And you can then take that data later on, and you can put it over top of a map. So this is great if you're doing a long hike, if you're doing any type of biking, anything like that. This is excellent for that. But not only does it collect that GPS info, but it also allows you to control your Insta360 from this. So you can adjust the settings, you can switch modes on here, and you can also start and stop recording on the Ace Pro from this remote. And this remote comes with 2 different types of mounts. One of them is this mount where you can wear it on your wrist, and then there's another mount where you can mount it on something like a bicycle. So that makes it really useful. The main ways I found myself using this is I like using this when I'm a little further away from my camera, and I don't want to have to touch the camera to start it. I like being able to just press record on here, and it starts recording on the Ace Pro, and then I can stop the recording on here as well. And this is really useful if you have your camera mounted somewhere where it's really not easy to toggle the screen to adjust the settings, or if you're further away from it. Like I've used this recently further away. I've been able to start and stop the recording. It was great to be able to do that right here, to not have to run down to the camera, start record, run back. This remote is really useful for that. And for the live preview feature on here, you can be up to 26 feet away from the camera with the remote, and the live preview will work. But in order to use this just as a start-stop remote for the recording and to change settings, you can be up to 65 feet away from the camera. So it does have a pretty good bit of distance with it as well. You also can turn off the remote and or your camera from the remote. So you don't have to power off your camera. You can turn them both off right here. Easy enough. And finally, accessory number 7 that I recommend using with the Insta360 Ace Pro is this little metal mount right here. Now, it may not look like much, but a lot of these mounts that you get with action cameras, they're typically made of plastic material. It typically gets cracks and falls apart, especially if you're someone like me that really likes to twist this screw in as tight as I can, because I don't want my camera changing angles on me. I want it to stay right where I put it. This mount goes perfectly with this Ulanzi tripod selfie stick, and pretty much any tripod mounting plate or any other type of accessory mount, you could just put this on there, and you can easily mount your Insta360 Ace Pro to it. And once you tighten it up, it gives just a really good feel there. It feels solid, and it feels like it's not going to fall off or break easily. And what I like about these metal mounts is a couple of these that I own several now, but a couple of these, I've had them for like 3 or 4 years now, and they're still going strong. I've used these metal mounts countless times, and there's no damage on them. There's no cracks. There's no bending on them. They're still as solid as the day I bought them. So I highly recommend picking up at least one of those metal mounts. They're great to have. So these are the 7 accessories that I recommend picking up if you want to get the most out of your Insta360 Ace Pro. And I find myself using most or all of these each time I use the Ace Pro. And I have linked to all of these accessories in the description below, so you can easily check them out. And if you'd like to learn more about the best settings that I recommend for the Ace Pro, check out this video right here.